Hi everyone, this is Sandy. Welcome to my channel. This is the tutorial on how to finish this album. I have a separate video tutorial on how to make the base of the album. It is an 8 1/4 by 10 1/4 with a 3.5 inch spine. I'll show you how to make the cover and the pages for this album. This is the tutorial on how to add your patterned paper and the matting and pretty much all the finishing of this album. Using Graphic 45's Curiouser and Curiouser paper collection, the 12 by 12 paper collections, and their patterns and solids paper collection that complements this. So stay tuned for the tutorial. So let's take a couple of minutes to go over the supplies that I used to make the album. As I said earlier, this is the base that I made. There is a separate tutorial for that, which I will link up above in the corner and also in the description, so that you can go make this 8 by 10, which is actually an 8 1/4 by 10 1/4 album cover with a 3 1/4 inch spine. So you can make that with all the page flaps and everything on the inside. So I do have a complete tutorial on how to make the album base. And I have gone ahead and matted mine on the front spine and the back cover with the red barn red artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. So you can pick up a pack of that. I'll be using it probably throughout the album to do tags and different matting that I want to do. So I'm going to do that. I did buy the from Country Craft Creations this set here. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to put them in a little tray. I love all these pieces. So this is the ephemera assortment, the Curiouser and Curiouser ephemera assortment from Graphic 45. I love how that all looks, all the little bits and pieces. I'm very carefully put it over here. Then I also got the rub-ons, which I took out of the plastic so it doesn't have a lot of glare here. So the rub-ons are really fun to use in an album, so I have those. Then I got the chipboard and frames. I think that's what it's called. Yes, chipboard tags and frames. I love this. So I love having chipboard to work with in a collection when I'm decorating. And then, of course, I have one pack of the 12 by 12 collection, the Curiouser and Curiouser. And then I also picked up one pack of the 12 by 12 patterns and solids. So that's what I'm going to be working with. I will link down below what I have here. Let me hold that up so it doesn't glare. We'll link down below the links to these to Country Craft Creations. And remember, if you use my affiliate code Sandy Trefger 10, which is all caps Sandy, SANDY TREFGER 10, you'll get a 10% discount when you place an order. The ephemera pieces and chipboard pieces and stuff may be sold out. I'm not sure, but I'll link it down below if it's still available. So check out the paper. It's been very popular. So let's get started with the matting and patterning and decorating of this album. So the first thing that we do, which I've already done, is I cut the barn red cardstock, artisan cardstock, for the cover, for the first mat. So I cut two 8 by 10s because I wanted an 1/8 of an inch border around, which means you want to cut it 1/4 inch smaller. Two of those, and then for the spine, one I went just an 1/8 shorter on the side, 3 1/8 by 10. And now I've picked my papers. It was a really hard choice. I initially thought about going with the little hearts here on the front, like that, but I really love this print here. So I have 2 sheets of this that I can use, but I think I might like to put it on the glitter paper. Now, my glitter paper is what I got from Country Craft Creations. about 10 months ago, I guess, when she had it in stock, and then she couldn't get it in anymore, and she brought in the Tonic Studio glitter sheets in the 8.5 by 11. So you would probably want black sapphire. That's the color that she has on her website now, and I'll link that down below. But I'm using the black glitter. Now I don't want to use, I want to save some of it. So I am going to cut the size that I want, and then I'm going to cut out a rectangle from the center so as not to just make it solid glitter, just get the border. Okay, so for that, let me calculate what I need. Okay, so we have our pieces cut from a sheet of the, if you're using the 8.5 by 11, it'll be 2 sheets of the 8.5 by 11. Cut it down to 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall, and then another sheet for your spine if you're wanting glitter on the spine. This would be 3 by 9 7/8. Now I am going to cut out a section in the center, so I'll have that for somewhere in the album. This paper, cut 2 of Happy Hour, 7 5/8 wide by 9 5/8 tall, front and back cover. And I can't decide if I want the spine to be different. I think I probably do, though I love this. This piece is from the scrap of one of these. This is 2 sheets of the 12 by 12 paper. Then you'll have a scrap that you can cut this one out of, 2 3/4 wide by 9 5/8 tall. Now I am not going to cut out anything out of this. I'm just going to glue this on, and I measured it so it would have about 1/8 of an inch or so on the sides and the top and the bottom. Now I just need to decide, do I want this pattern or this? I think I want the flowers with the butterflies. I may do the back in the other pattern. I'll decide on that in a bit. So let me get my glue running again, because I went off and left it open. And you can't do that. It will dry inside that little bitty tube there. So this little bottle is pretty good at not getting clogged, but if you leave it for an extended length of time, it will. So while I'm using it, it's okay if I don't cap it, but if I go off for a couple of hours or so, yes, it needs to be capped off. So now let's line this up, side to side and the bottom, and burnish it down. Really press it down. I think that glitter really accents that, brings it out. If it slides when you're burnishing, make sure you realign it. Okay, now we need to cut a center out of each of these so we can use it somewhere else in the album, and we're not wasting a lot of this glittery paper. So I'm going to use my trimmer here. So there's not that much going to show as far as a border, but I do want at least, I'm going to have a 1/2 inch border. So I'll line this in at a 1/2 inch here on the left. Okay, 1/2 inch on the left. Drop this down. I'm going to move this, the line on my blade, oh, you can't see it. The line on my blade here, right here, line that up at a 1/2 inch and drop that down, and then cut down to about a 1/2 inch right there. So that gives me that cut. I'm going to leave my blade there. Did I start at a 1/2 inch? Probably not. I'm going to line this up in at a 1/2 inch again. Let's see, I'm going to do this side because I left my blade there. So line this up at a 1/2 inch, and that blade is still in place there, so I'll just bring it down to about a 1/2 inch here. Okay, so see you have those two cuts like that. Then you turn it, put this at a 1/2 inch. I've got my blade left where I stopped, and so I'm just going to take it back here and stop and see how close I am. Pretty close. So then I can just take that out, and then we'll do the other side as well, so I can see that I did get it cut. So I'll put this in at a 1/2 inch. I'm leaving that blade where it's at because that was a good spot, and bring this down to 1/2 inch. And if you need your scissors right there, I needed my scissors in that corner. I didn't have it cut really good, but it's okay. Where it stopped, there's still going to be plenty of frame for underneath. And then you have this whole piece that you can use on your project. So I'm going to do the other one, and then I'll be right back, and we'll glue the paper on. Sorry about that glare. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have both my glitter paper frames cut, but we're not doing it as frames. Remember, we're doing it as a mat behind this. So I left enough to mat this paper on. But we just need to attach the edges for right now. So, see, these are the same. I cut them the same. For sure, I want this one for the front. So I'll put glue just around the edge of the pattern paper for now. Flip this over and line it up. Get the margin that I want. Oops. And glitter paper is kind of slick, so, or I think it is, so it doesn't always stay right where you put it. And man, I'm not getting it on there straight at all. Okay, that's better there. Okay, so then I burnish it around the edges. And of course, check my mat underneath once I've done that to see if I've got any glue on my mat. Really burnish that well. So that is the mat, like that, for the front of the album. See, I just love that little bit of glitter on there. Okay, now then I have to decide. So this is the front of my album. Do I want this piece on the back? I think that's pretty. It'd be a different contrast. So that's what I'm going to do. So we grab this piece here. Now what we're doing is we're just putting the patterned paper on the cover on the outside for now. None of the decorating. That I do last so that I can pattern all the inside while the cover is flat. I don't know yet what I want to put on the front. I may do it like I did the Oz album, just, you know, a collage of images, characters like Alice and maybe the Mad Hatter, whatever. I'll have to look at the paper and see what would be pretty on there. So let's line this up now and try to get one edge lined up and the bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, burnish the edges. See, that one kind of tried to move on me. I don't know why my camera, I don't think I've moved my camera, but I feel like I'm a long ways off from the where I'm working. So let me see. We'll let that go. Burnish this again. I saw a little piece there that was kind of popping up. Okay, so now we're ready to put it on the cover. Now you do have your pages in here, so you have to make sure you pay attention to your front and back cover. You can still lay your cover flat with all your pages and flaps in there, or fairly flat. So I'm going to do the front one first. Make sure you pay attention to the direction because you don't want your clock upside down. And it's just a small amount of the red going to show. So all along the edge, and then also on the actual patterned paper. Whoops, a lot of glue there. Came out. Got to clean that off for sure. Let me get something real quick. Okay, so next we put the spine on. Which I really cut this too wide. It's not giving me much of a border. So I'm going to trim just a tiny bit off of each side. Let me see if the bottom looks okay. Maybe just a little bit from the top and the bottom. Okay, so I trimmed off just the teeniest bit, like that, so that a little bit of the red, more of the red shows on the spine. So we're going to go ahead and glue this on. I'm so excited to work with this paper because I love Graphic 45. And this is just an amazing looking collection that they've done this time. I think it's really, really nice images and everything. So there we go. Push that over some. Make sure we have enough of a border. The top and the bottom. So pretty with the butterflies and the gold filigree butterflies. And the red roses, really gorgeous. So even if you weren't doing an Alice in Wonderland, this is really pretty paper. Okay, so now the back one goes here. And we glue that one on. Okay, and burnish really well. Push out some of that glue if there's too much. Wipe it off. Okay, that's the cover. I think that's so pretty like that. So there we have the spine. And my camera's just way too close. So we're going to fix that. I'll be back. We'll start on the inside of the front cover. Okay, so I've zoomed out a little bit, and I do apologize. Somehow my camera setting turned on autofocus. So that's why the camera was doing a little blurry every now and then. And so I hope it didn't make anybody dizzy. But I can't re-record that part, but I have double checked and made sure my autofocus is turned off. doing videos like this, you don't want autofocus on because it tries to focus every time you move your hand or something. And I also readjusted my zoom here, so I think this is a little bit better. So to review, we have the front cover patterned, and the spine, we use the red, the Barn Red Artisan cardstock and the black sapphire no shed glitter paper. So I really love how it looks now. So that's the outside cover. Decorating will be done later. If we want to add a ribbon, we'll do that later. So now we're going to start working on the front inside cover first, and then we'll do the page 1. So I am going to number my pages. So this is page 1. Flip it. We got page 2, 3, 4, 5. So you might want to number yours too. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, inside back cover. So there's a lot of stuff to get done here on the adding pattern paper and different mats and things. So we flip back. For now, we're going to be doing the inside front cover, and then we'll swing on into page 1 and just keep working our way through the album. For the inside front cover, I took 1 sheet of the 12 by 12 Joyous Possibilities. So it's black on that side, red on, I want the red. And the first cut that I made is I cut 6.5 tall from the bottom, and then I cut it down to 8 1/8 wide. Then that left me a large enough piece to cut this one for the pocket. First I cut the 7 7/8 wide so I could get this heart this way, and then from the bottom I cut 3 7/8 tall. So that's going to be for the pocket like that. So I have the red there and red there. So for this piece in here, this angle pocket, from the gold, hearts on gold, from the Patterns in Solid, I cut a piece that's 5 by 5 square, because we're going to fit it in there, and we're going to cut it at an angle like that. So we'll put these in first, and then for the booklet, from the pattern paper Always Late, I cut this one here that is 5 7/8 wide by 8 3/4, and I laid it so I could get Dumbledy and whatever. I can't think of their names. So I could Alice like this, and the butterfly down here, and the Queen of Hearts. Twiddledee and Tweedledum. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. Twiddledee and Tweedledum. So I've got the caterpillar here. So position it so that you can cut it. I think I cut the 5 7/8 wide first, and then I cut my 8 3/4 tall from the bottom like that. So that's going to be the booklet. So this one we can go ahead and round the 2 outer corners. I did use the 10 millimeters, so we round that. And then we can go ahead and put that on if we want to. Of course, there'll be more layers added on later as we have scraps and things, or cut parts, some of our chipboard elements and things. But I just wanted to get the paper on, and I really liked this design here. Of course, the red side on the back is very pretty too. So hopefully we'll be able to use some of that somewhere else in the book. So let's get this one on. Push this up out of the way, get glue everywhere, and line this up. So I cut it so that it has a narrow margin, top and bottom here. Let's burnish it. So that's our booklet to start with. We'll save doing the inside and the back or anything till later, so we might do some, piecing, blocking, or whatever you want to call it. But there's the booklet to start. Now we'll do these pieces here. So let's do the bottom. Let's do the inside first. So you don't have to cover the whole inside, so that's why I cut it this way, to conserve some paper. I'm going to turn this around so I can see a little bit better, I think. Run out of room here for my cover, and so that you can see. There we go. So it's going to go right here, actually on the edge of where the paper is attached there. So it has a narrow margin of black showing, and you don't want it to go into your hinge piece over there. So add my glue. The top. Okay, and burnish that in. Okay, then the next I'm going to go ahead and attach my pocket down. So glue on these 1/2 inch flaps. What I did in the base album tutorial is show you just attaching it down at the bottom and adding our tape to keep it smooth. So now we want to do the sides after we attached our paper. Oh, right here. I didn't think about that. Lift that up. This is offset here, so I need some paper there. Oh. So the paper should have gone all the way down. Let's see what I can do here. Find a piece that will go. Right here. So let me trim this down a little bit, the tip of that heart. So I'm piecing this because I forgot that it needed to go all the way down. So if it goes like this, pretty close, right about where those little hearts are. I'm just eyeballing it. Going to make me a piece here that goes like that, all the way down. So because of this offset pocket, you probably want to cut your paper all the way down, but if you piece it in like this, it should be okay, because most of that's going to be covered up anyway. You're just going to see a little bit on the side. So we fixed that goof up. I didn't realize when I cut the paper, I should have thought about it, that the pocket didn't go all the way over, because I wanted to make sure it didn't get into that area there. Round, and this will go here. I'll lift this up. Well, I'm goofing totally today. So this pocket's got to go in. This one right here. You don't glue it down, but you tuck it in. Okay, now we put this pocket on. I have slept for sure since I designed this. Okay, now we put this down. Burnish it. So it does have to go on top of this pocket. You don't do any gluing, extra gluing to this pocket. You just fold it over onto the patterned paper and then glue the pocket down, the bottom pocket down onto the top of it. Okay, now we have it. Ooh, crisis averted. So now our patterned paper will go just like this on top of that angle pocket. So go ahead and glue this one down. And then I will show you how to cut the pattern paper for the angle pocket. Love that red and the hearts and the butterflies. So pretty. Okay, burnish it really well. Now then, this, I want the small hearts to show. Now to cut this piece, we take the 5 by 5, and I like to lay this on here at the top, drop it down about where I want the black margin to show. And I put me a tick mark that same distance from the corner edge right there. Then I'm going to slide this up. I'm going to make sure it stays where I wanted it here on the side. Right there. Push it up till I can see the bottom here. So I see the edge of the pocket here, and so I'll do a tick mark right there. Now I'm going to cut from there, from that tick mark, up to the one at the top, like so. I'm going to lay this in here, and check it, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go with that. Could have been over a little bit more, but that's fine. I'm not going to be too terribly picky with that. It's okay with some black showing as long as it's pretty straight. So glue on this one. Line it up so that the hearts are going the correct direction. And oops, let's bring this over a little more. Okay, we're going to leave it like that. So there's a little more showing right here, but I'm okay with that. So there is the inside front cover, and then of course the booklet goes inside like this. Okay, so off camera I did a little bit with my booklet and then this pocket. At first I thought I'd be okay with the wider here, but no. So this is my fix for that. I just took my ruler, it's a metal ruler, make sure it's metal, or if you have a small cutting mat, and I put that in there. I took my other metal ruler, lined it up along the edge, and then my cutting knife, and I just sliced off down to underneath the pocket very carefully to get a smaller black border on that pocket, and I like that better. Maybe a little smaller than it should have been, I don't know. But it's not as wide as it was, so I'm okay with that. So I just wanted to give you that fix if you couldn't get yours on either correct. So we all have to do some fixes now and then. And I just noticed all this glue here. I don't know why on my edge here. So I really like, if you don't have one of these rubber, I think they're an artist eraser. I don't know. You can pick these up at craft supply stores, and it will take dry glue off. See that? I don't know if you noticed it at first in the video, but I saw it and it bugged me. So yeah, I've cleaned it up. Now for the booklet, I did go ahead and add a couple of things to it. I may be adding more, but I wanted to show you where I took it out of. I used one sheet of the Dream It, because I'm going to keep this sheet in case I need the paper, but I took the other one. And to save your borders and things so you can use it later, you have to cut this in steps. So take a look at it, and I can see that I can cut this strip here all the way across and here and get that one off. And then I was able to take this one off and then this bottom one off. So you just have to strategically look at it to see how you're going to cut it. Then I was able to cut the butterflies off, this strip off, this one here, the red, this one here, and then that got me down to where I could cut this off and cut out this. And then I cut this down for a strip. I cut this square out when I cut these stamps out, and then I have this one whole. So you just have to, you can do it with your scissors or use your trimmer. So then I glued this image here with Alice and her dress all flying out as she's falling, and all the things that are whirling around. And then I put this strip of stamps here like that. So I may add more to this as I'm going when I have different things to work with, but that tucks in there, and I really like how that looks with her just peeking out like that. So next we're going to do the front here. This is page 1, and I do like to bring in some of the patterns from here, from this side over to here. So I'm going to strategically look at what I've got. This is from the Patterns and Solids, and of course you only get 2 sheets of the patterns if we're trying to do this with one 12 by 12 collection of the designer papers, and one of the prints and solids from Graphic 45. So we're going to see how we do with that. May have to bring in some the red, barn red or something to do some of these, like the back sides and stuff. I will do that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine, make a list of what I'm using, and I'll have the measurements for you so that you'll know how what sizes I cut, and then we'll glue it down together. Okay, so I planned out my papers, got everything cut. So, and we're going to need a magnet for sure. So let me grab a set of those. I'm using the Tonic Small. I think that would be fine for the little flaps. So you need 1 set of magnets. So I've got those there. I cut for the inside of the main big flap and the inside or the back side of the small flap. I'm using the red Barn Artisan cardstock. So for the small one, I need one that is 4 7/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. And for the large flap on the right, I need one that is 5 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. So we have that. Let me move this out of the way because I'm going to piece that one. For the inside page, I'm using the small hearts on the yellow gold from the Patterns and Solids, and I cut that to 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. This front flap here is going to be one new sheet of the Dream It, which was your tags and cut aparts. I've got the one sheet that I kept for that. This one I wanted to match up this pattern here. So I'll cut this one for the front of the large flap, 5 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. We do have to put a magnet on first. And this one I'm going to piece. So this is all from scraps, so you can use whatever scraps you want. I wanted the Humpty Dumpty and Curiouser here from that piece that I used for the booklet. So this is a scrap. I cut one 4 7/8 wide by 2 7/8 tall. That's going to fit there. Then I wanted to bring in this pattern here, and I wanted this heart and the butterfly. So this piece here is it's not 4 7/8 wide, 4 1/8 wide by 2 7/8 tall to fit there. And then I wanted to bring in the hearts, so I cut 2 because so I can decide. These are 2 7/8 tall by 5/8 wide. So I'll decide which hearts I want on that. So let's get our magnets attached first. So the magnet's not going to actually go over there. It's going to go on this little flap here, about let's say 3/4 of an inch in on the center. I'll put some glue. I'm going to attach one magnet on that glue, and I'm going to grab some tape. Tape it down. I'm going to drop this other magnet on it. Put glue on it. Press it down to the larger flap. And I'm going to give that a second to dry. Okay, so I let the magnet dry completely on this side, added tape over it, and then I've attached my patterned paper. So this whole page 1 is now matted, so we'll review all that. So we have this flap here on the inside. We have the barn red on the back of the flaps, which is great for, you know, photo mats. You can just use these areas. And then this one covers the entire area there. And then this one is pieced, and I went with this one here with the partial hearts on the side. I just like that one better. So I love how this turned out. This is one of my most recent favorite Graphic 45. There's been some collections I've skipped, but this one was really caught my eye, and I'm so glad that I got it. But I did just buy one pattern package of the 12 by 12 and one of the patterns and solids, so I'm hoping I can get this album done with all that. Now, I didn't order more because I have a ton of Graphic 45, and I used to buy multiple packs of it and then not use it. And so I'm thinking that one of my goals for 2025 is maybe I'll have a series and project once a month, hopefully, fingers crossed, where I will take one of my older from my stash, a Graphic 45 collection from my stash, and make a project and do a tutorial on it so you can join me. You may have a different paper collection you want to use on it, or the same, and we'll just try to knock some of that, some of those collections out of the vault, I guess you would say. I just have way too many, and we always like to buy new stuff. So yeah, I'm thinking I have some collections I really need to make some projects out of. So anyway, this is the review of page 1. So we're ready now to move on to page 2. And we'll do 2 and 3 at the same times because they'll be identical. So we'll get to work on those. Okay, so here's what I've got for page 2 and 3. So remember, page 2 and 3 have the flaps with the little pocket holder tab thingies. I don't know what to call them, but anyway. I'm going to use this print from the Patterns and Solids, which is the gold color with the bigger hearts and the butterflies. Excuse me. So you do need 2 of these, 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall, because I want to make them mirror each other. I want them to match. Then from my scraps, I was lucky enough to have enough to cut 4 of these to mat these corners. And you need 4 that are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So all 4 of these came out of scraps. If you don't have this pattern in scraps, look for other scraps that would work. You could even make them all 4 different if you wanted to, but I was lucky enough to have enough to be the same. So I need to show you how I cut these. So I take the one, this is the direction it's going to go on. You want to make sure your hearts go the right way. So this is correct. So I lay this, actually I lay it like this on top, the way it's got to go, and see where my margin's going to go here at the bottom, a little bit at the top and on the sides, and then I hold it and turn it over, and I just took a pen and I drew a line just like that. Now this is the side I'm going to keep, so I want it just a little bit smaller, so like from the point here right along that line, I just chop that off, and this is trash. So this is going to go right here on top, so it should fit a lot better than what I did on that other one a while ago, on this other page. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on so I don't get it mixed up. I'll show you the top one. Both sides are the same. I've already done my others. I haven't glued them on, but I've already cut them. So you just lay it on like that. Okay, and burnish it down. I've lost my burnishing tool. There it is under the scissors. So burnish it down. Make sure it's nice and smooth and flat. And that's going to be going on there on top of the pattern paper once we get that on. So I take this one. So this is the direction it goes. I want my hearts going the same way. But you see that the piece is the different direction. And so I lay it out where I want my border, top and bottom. Okay, hold it, pick up both pieces, just flip it over, holding onto it, draw a line, and then I cut just to the inside of the line to make sure I have enough border. Toss the small one, and this one, let's see here, I think I flipped it over, is going to go like this. So I'll glue that on. And then I will show you gluing on the other one, the main page, in just a few minutes. Okay, so this goes like this. Just mat it on there. Looks good. Wipe off the glue though. Okay, make sure I had enough border there showing. And burnish it. So there's that one up there. So let's take this main page. We'll do this one on camera, and everything else I'll do off camera. And I'm going to show you the inside, what I've cut for the inside as well. So I'm going to move these off. And then like this, we're going to take this page, and this fits here. So this one I cut at, I think I gave you the measurements, 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. So we're just going to glue this on. So now we have that on. So now we're ready to put these guys back on. So they have no hinge, but you're going to put glue just along the edge of the straight edge, not the angle one, side and the bottom of this one. So you leave no glue on the little short piece or on the angle cut. And we're just going to fit that in right here on the edge. Just like that. Okay, make sure I get them on there. Burnish that down. And that becomes a tuck corner spot for a big mat. Whoops, make sure it stays stuck down. This one goes up here in this left corner. Same thing, the glue on the long straight sides, but not on the short one and not on the angle. So glue right here. And here. And you'll do the other side the exact same way. I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm fixing to open this up and show you the pieces I cut for the inside. Okay, so there's that. I love that. I love the monochromatic coloring of that, but it's different prints. So I'll do this one off camera, but when you open this up, what I did cut for inside here, the two back sides of the flaps are going to be the red barn cardstock. So these are full flaps. You cut these 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. Then for inside your pocket, because it doesn't need to go all the way down, I did take this, I call it a chevron, I don't know, this diamond pattern on the black, on the patterns and solids, and cut two to go above the pocket that are 7 7/8 wide by just 7.5 tall, and that fits in there. And then once you have those on, let me just go ahead and do one of them. We put our pocket down that we made when we did our base album on that separate tutorial video. So let's mat this one in. So it's easier to put on when you haven't assembled, attached the pocket down yet. So it's going to go like this. So I'm going to bring it in a little closer so I can see the top. So it goes down into the pocket, right along the top edge there. Nice and straight, not over the fold. And we burnish that down. So see, it goes down below into the pocket. We have our tape here to keep our pocket from snagging. Now then, take your glue, and on your 1/2 inch flaps, add your glue on the sides of the pocket. Then go ahead and touch that down. And you will do the same thing on the other one, which I will do off camera. Burnish the sides really well to make sure they stick down. Now to pattern the pocket, I was able to find 2 scraps because they're going to be the same. They were not opposite. They were cut the same. But this is 7 7/8 wide by 2 1/4. So whatever scraps you have, that's going to go down there. And then I was able to, from 2 different pieces of this, I had the one that I had cut this pattern for, and the one that I had cut the border of. So I have 2 of these. And there are the 7 7/8 wide by about 1/2 inch. So that border is going to go right along the top there. So that's how this is going to finish off. So I'll finish these and I'll come back and we'll review it. Okay, a quick review of what we've done, with what I've done on page 2 and 3. We have a mirror pages here with the gold patterns and solids that have the large hearts and the butterflies, and then we have the gold patterns and solids from scraps and the smaller hearts on our corner placeholders here. And then when this opens up, we have the red full flap on each side. It's so wide I can't open it up. Then we have this black diamond pattern here inside above our pockets, and our pockets have from the scrap this real pretty rose clock and our pocket watch and butterflies, and then we have a little bit of that trim there at the top. So I love how this turned out. It looks so pretty, so elegant really. So that's the pages. So we've done inside cover, page 1, page 2, page 3, and now we're ready to do page 4, which is our flap and this mat in here. So I'll pick the papers, and again, like I always do, I try to, if I don't use the same papers on this side, I use some of the elements on this side, because this is just a plain, just one sheet here. So that one doesn't have a lot of flips and flaps, so we should be able to kind of match up some of the elements on each side to bring it all together. So that's what we'll be doing next. We'll do page 4, and then we'll move right on into page 5, probably at the same time. Now we're going to work on page 4, which has the flip up and the gatefold doors, and then we'll also do 5 at the same time because I want to make these patterns coordinate across from each other. I've got everything cut. I'm going to give you the measurements, then I will glue it down off camera and then review it again. But I will say that when I cut this, I didn't realize that I would want the back side for my gatefold, and I would have liked it to be opposite sides so that it's not exactly the same. I don't know if that makes sense. So I should have turned one of these the other way to get the other side for the short piece. So 2 of these, you get your gatefold from both of these sheets here. So this is the beautiful nonsense, and I'm going to use this gold color with the little black flowers. So you need 2 of these that are 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. I'm going to give you these in just a minute. So this is all that goes on page 5. You don't have any add-ons. Then when this flips up, the back side of this flap is going to be the red barn cardstock. So that is also 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. This is the gatefold. So as you see, they're cut exactly the same. It's okay. I would have liked this side and then had, you know, continuation kind of, well, a little bit different of the icons, but it's okay. So you cut 2 of these from the scraps of these, 3 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall, and then you're going to cut two out of the red barn red color. Two that are 3 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. I cut these out of scraps. And then for here on the inside, I cut one that is 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall, and this is the red fern from the Patterns and Solids. So that's what I'll be gluing in on all of this off camera. And then for this little closure piece for the magnet. So we already had our piece here with the magnet on it. And you need two of the red cardstock, cut 3 1/4 by 4 3/8. So one goes in the front, one goes in the back to hide the magnets, and can be used as a photo mat like that. And then I have a scrap of this. I wanted the gold behind this. I cut this cut apart down to 2 7/8 wide by 3 3/4 tall, and then I cut the gold to go behind it at 3 1/8 wide by 4 tall, and so that's going to mat on top of that red, and so that's what's going to be sitting there holding that down. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this, and then I'll be back to go over it with you. So here we have page 4 and 5. Of course, there'll be I may add some different elements and mats and things to these once I get into the decorating, but page 4 flips up, so then we have the red back here. You could add some blocking if you wanted to with other pattern papers once you have some of them, scraps left over. I think I just saw a place of glue. I want to make sure I try to erase that. Okay. And then we have the mat here, the magnetic closure that lifts up, the gate folds open, and then we have this pattern here in the cardstock and the red fern. So I love how that looks with those images, and I use this cut apart. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, the Cheshire Cat. So that's page 4 and 5, and now we're ready to move on to 6, which has just a pocket, and 7 that is also plain. Pages 6 and 7 are pretty simple. I took 2 sheets of this paper. This is the Outlandish Odyssey. I love the black and white of the roses. I like the smaller print too, but this one just really grabs me. So this is the one I'm going to use. And so I cut one to go above the pocket, 7 7/8 wide by 7 1/2 tall. Then I used a scrap of this diamond black pattern from the Patterns and Solids, 7 3/4 wide by 2 7/8 tall. And then this one is for a full page. There's nothing else on this page, page 7. We need 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. And again, this is the pattern that's labeled as Outlandish Odyssey. So I'm going to glue these down real quick. Then I'll just kind of quickly show you what they are, and then we'll move on to page number 8 next. Okay, so they're glued down. Love, love, love this paper. Wanted to show you real quick. Again, in the base construction of this album, I left my pockets unattached on the sides with my tape here to protect the anything that slides in. And I don't cover the whole page because there's no sense in wasting that. Might could use that on something else. But now we need to quickly, since we've got it all patterned, go ahead and put glue on our 1/2 inch of our pocket sides, and then bring those up and seal off this pocket on the sides. So that should just lay down real nicely like that, and just go ahead and burnish the sides to make sure they stick down good. And that finishes up. Got to grab that one. It's not wanting to burnish down. There we go. Finish up these pockets of page 6 and page 7, and now we're ready to move on to page 8 and probably page 9. So page 8 is also just a single page with no pockets or anything extra. So I cut one piece out of the black and white, I call it icons, these images here from the Patterns and Solids. It's black on that side. I'm using this print here. So you want one that is 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall, which is the same size we've been using on all our main pages. Okay. Then here on page 9, we're going to be working on the pocket. So for the flaps, this little piece here that's on the flap side, I'm going to use the small red hearts. This is also from Patterns and Solids. It's red on the back, small red hearts. We need 2 of these that are 6 7/8 wide by 4 7/8 tall, and that's going to glue down like that. And then when you open these up, here on the inside, we're going to have the same size of the red, barn red cardstock. And these are also cut the same size that I just gave you for the front. 6 7/8 wide by 4 7/8 tall. Then we need to cut, let's see if I've lost some of my pieces here. Okay. Then we need to cut for the pocket that attaches down. This is a pocket here. We need to cut 2, and I'm using the same print again from the Patterns and Solids. We need to cut 2 that are, look for my notes here, (6 7/8 by 4 7/8, and then I'm going to have to do my notch. So let me show you that real quick. So these are cut like this. So I'm going to move it over so I can see where my notch is. I'm going to lay my paper about where I want it, top and bottom, and I'm going to take a pencil. Sorry, I'm reaching across. And I'm going to do a long line in the center pretty much for that. And then I take my notch punch and I'm going to line it up where that pencil line is, about in the center of it, and punch, and then erase my line. Make sure you use pencil so you can erase it. And this one goes here, and make sure I cut it so that my print is continuous. So see here, here's her neck, and here's the head, and there's the top of the clock. So you want it to kind of flow that way. So this one we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay it down, scoot it down, line it up top and bottom. Make sure I've got it straight, where I'm going to line up the paper on there, and then I mark a center mark right there, and I'm going to punch. Push it all the way in and punch it, looking at it to see. I hope that got it. Okay, because I can't recut it. Okay, let's see if how that looks. Okay, pretty close. I think it will work just fine. So I cut those and punch those. Now then, for the flaps here on the front, because this is going to be covered up, these are going to be down, and then we're going to have the hearts here. So for the flaps, I'm matching this paper here. So I have this one cut with the Curiouser and Curiouser, and then Alice like this. And then I have this one with her feet and legs and the rabbit right like that. So these two pieces are cut from the scraps of this black and white. You cut 2 that are 1 7/8 wide by 4 7/8 tall. Punch round the corners on the 2 insides like that. Then you want 2 red ones the same size, 1 7/8 wide by 4 7/8 tall, and round 2 corners, just 2 corners. So that's going to go on there. We've got to put magnets on before we can continue any gluing or anything. But then also I want to show you that here on the inside, because there's going to be a split, once this pocket is attached down and those flaps, this one's not as bad as the other. When they open up, you can see this area right here. You want this piece in here. So this is a scrap of the red hearts, and you want, let's see, where did I cut that? Inside pockets under the flaps. Maybe I didn't write this one down. And this is from a scrap, so let me just get the measurements real quick. Can't find it in my notes. I cut it 1 7/8 by the full page length because I want to make sure I had it pretty much. I cut mine at 9 3/4, so that'll work because you don't see this upper part, so you just want to make sure you have it in here. So that's going to work just fine. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and glue that on right now with you and camera. It could have been a more narrow piece. This is probably just what I had. I don't remember. I've cut it yesterday. So anyway, you want a scrap that covers especially where you're going to see this opening up. So I've got it like that. So now we've got that. Now we're going to do our magnets. Let me write this down what it is. So I'll have it in the cutting guide, and then we'll continue on by adding some magnets. Okay, so I did have it wrote down. I had it wrote down as 1 3/4 wide by 9 7/8 tall. Mine's not quite that. I cut it out of scrap. So if yours is off a little bit, that's fine. No big deal. Okay, so magnets. We need 2 sets. And again, I'm using the small tonic ones from Country Craft Creations. There we go. We close this down like this. And since we have this paper on, let's go ahead and attach our pockets down. So I go ahead and do both sides at the same time, or one pocket at a time, but the 1/2 inch, the top and the bottom. Bring this up. It's going to line up along the bottom here. It's already attached here at the bottom, so we know where it's going to fall, and we want to burnish it. Of course, we've got all this other stuff underneath here, so you have to really burnish to make sure she's sticking down. That's a scrap there. We need that. Okay. So give it a good burnish. You want your pockets to be sealed up top and bottom. Okay. Now I'm ready to do this one. Put a good amount of glue right there where it's going to catch. I didn't get it on the inside. Pop this one down and burnish it. And at the top. Art glitter glue will hold really good, but sometimes you've really got to burnish it and let it give it a chance to grab. Okay. Now then, we're ready for the magnets. So I have the 2 sets. I just need 1 magnet for each flap. And I'm going to glue them on, kind of in the center, about 3/4 of an inch down or so from the, oops. Got to make sure it's not hitting them. Oh, okay, it's not going to go in this pocket. That's like, wait a minute, that's not right. We do want them on these little flaps, but it's not going to go in the pocket. It's going to go on the flaps. I'm like, what have I done? So glue this one down. So you glue to the back side of your flap. Then grab some tape. You can use score tape, or I just like to just go ahead and use gift wrap tape. Cover my magnet. Now then, we've got the pattern papers here. I'm going to move these out of the way for now. We're going to close up our flap. That's where the magnet goes. So attach your little magnets to the ones that you just glued down. And put glue on each one. Bring them over and attach them down and let them dry. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have given you all the measurements, I think, for everything. So I'm going to go ahead off camera and glue everything down, and then I'll come back and review it all with you now that you have your magnets on and your pocket closed up. We're ready to glue everything else down. Quick review of page 8 and 9. Well, most of page 9 because we have some stuff to do underneath. But here's page 8 with this one matted on. Here's the pockets on the flap of page 9. That's what we've gotten done so far with these magnetic flaps. This opens back like this. So we have these pockets here, extra place for photos, pocket here. I love that. And now we'll be ready to open up the flap of page 9 and work on the inside. We'll put the papers on the inside, so I'll go over that with you next. So that is page 8 and the front of the flap on page 9. So for the inside of page 9, underneath the front flap that has the pockets, we open this up. So I cut for the back side of the flap this red, barn red, which is 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. That's for that. This has our pop-up here. So before we get our pop-up going, we need a full page for this to put the pop-up on. So this is the hearts from the red hearts from the Patterns and Solids. It's got the red on the back. So this one is, for this main page, 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall. So that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. Lots of pieces and parts here for the pop-up, pop and twist. On the outside here, we have the diamond, a black print. It's from a scrap. So this one I cut at, let's see, I think I cut that at 4 1/8. Double check. Yes, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to glue to the front of our pop and twist. Then on the inside of our pop and twist, when you open this up, this piece here and this piece here, I'm going to cut that. I cut that out of the same thing, the black diamonds, and you cut 2 of these 4 1/8 wide by 3 1/2 tall. You've got to make sure that it doesn't interfere. See where this angle is? It's got to be below that angle line like that, because that's just going to get folded up, and we don't want that. You might even want to trim it a little bit less than that 3 1/2. I think I am. I'm going to trim both of them together. Just take off another 1/8 of an inch. Just want to make sure. So this is what I cut off right here. This didn't get cut all the way. About 1/8 of an inch off. So that when I glue it down, it is definitely below that angle point tip right there. So we want those. We got those. Then from red cardstock, I cut 4 red cardstock. cut 4 that are 2.5 wide by 2 5/8 tall. This will go here. And then I wanted a pattern on top of that. So I cut out of scraps 2 of this design and 2 of this I haven't used yet. I really think it's pretty. Just get a little bit of it. So I cut 2 and 2. These are the same sizes. So total of 4 that are 2 wide by 2 1/8 tall. So you could do them all the same print, or, you know, decide that you want them different like this. You could have 4 different prints. For the closure piece, I'm using the little flowers. And I cut 2 of these out of any scraps that you have, 1 1/8 wide by 1 3/4 tall. That's for that. Then I pulled out this chipboard piece. I think it goes really well with all of this. So it has the little red piece with the butterfly that's made out of a key. And then perhaps these guys. I think these are cute. This was in the ephemera pack that I had. And so these are stamps. I think I will probably cut them apart and use them on that page. I was just thinking ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all this down. So you're going to glue one of these to each red. So it's got quite a bit of border on it, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a bigger red border around that. So go ahead and get all your gluing done, and then we'll get these 2 pages glued down, or this one. I've already done the other one. The heart's glued down and this page glued down, and then I'll come back and go over that with you, and then I'll show you actually gluing this into the page. Okay, so I have all my pattern papers down, and I totally forgot the magnet for this. So I have put it here on the outside, but I was going to put a cut apart anyway. So I have cut this cut apart down to about 3.5 by 5. More like 4 7/8. And then I cut a glitter mat to go behind it. So the glitter mat is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 or so. So that's going to glue down over that magnet, and then we're going to have a closure piece. So I have this piece here and this one down. And so for the pop-up, the twist and pop, we have these in here. Remember, you have to make sure that it stays below the point of the fold, right there and right there. And then I put these on. I staggered them, the mats, and then I put the little stamps on, and I cut them apart and just glued them on the top or like the bottom. If I want to tuck something else in there, I can. So that's the pop and twist. So we have this. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down over it, and then we'll attach it to the page, and then we'll add the magnetic closure. And I wanted to show you a couple of things I'm going to do for that. So let's get the glue on this glitter paper backing behind the mat of the cut apart, and I chose the Alice. It says every adventure requires the first step, and then it says drink me, so I like that. So I'm going to center this over it, and I did put the magnet down. I used a large one because I thought it might need a little stronger magnetic closure on it. So let me burnish this down real quick. It's really chunky here, so we've got to burnish the best we can. Now then, this side that's unfinished, you have your fold at the top. You're going to put quite a bit of glue on the back here. Kind of stay away from the edges so it doesn't ooze out a whole lot, but right in the middle, because this is going to be popping up and down, and you just want to make sure it sticks. Okay, so then I'm going to center this top to bottom pretty much. It's okay if it's up a little more here, side to side. Get it as straight as you can with those hearts. I'm going to hold it down and open this up. Then I can reach in here and burnish and make sure it stays stuck. And then it closes down. And burnish up here, maybe get through all that thickness and let that set. So that's the way that's going to work. Now then, our little pieces down here, I've already gave you the measurements. We have a little closure that has got the little 1/4 inch, 2/4 inch score lines. And I decided I want to do a little decorative on this. So I have, if you have the stub punch, just stub the 2 top corners of your closure piece and the top where the flowers are at the top of the pattern piece that matches. So this is going to be the piece that flops down. So you want your flowers to go this away. So punch on the bottom of the flowers. Okay. Now then, where did my magnet go? Okay, gotta find the magnet. I know it's here somewhere. I know I didn't glue it down. Hang on, everybody. Let's get the magnet. Okay, so I was using the big magnets. I don't know where I placed the second one. It's probably lost here somewhere in La La Land. So I'm out of the big ones. I had my last 2, and I have this little older basic gray one here. So I'm going to have to use it. So as long as they're magnetic to each other, it'll be fine. I'll probably find that other one after I get all this decorated. So on the back of my closure piece, that means with my folds going in, let's see here. There's that. Okay, so I have that attached. I'm going to put glue on just the little 1/4 inch, hinge right here. Now I've got it holding it up. I'm going to attach my closure piece down by magnet. And then I'm going to keep it straight. Push this so that it goes in and attaches down so that we still have that 1/4 inch going straight up and down. We have the one that attaches down and one that goes straight up and down. And let's make sure we're getting it straight on there. And let's give that a chance to dry. And I'm going to look to see if I find that magnet. Okay, so I still haven't found it. While this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on. That goes on the front like that. It's kind of cute there with a rabbit. I didn't know that turned out like that. That's kind of cute. I'm going to use, no, I'm not. I'm going to, because I want that other piece on there. The rabbit's cute. I could have used him, but almost did. It's one of those do I or don't I situations. So let's glue this on. Now we can open this back. I'm going to put some glue on my magnet here around it. And I'm going to glue this one down over it. To cover the magnet. I am not going to worry about my little 1/4 inch spaces. I think they're fine in the black. If you want to, you could cut down some really small strips of paper to cover that. I might decide later on to do that. I don't know, but it looks fine to me like that. So there's your closure piece like this. And then this, I'm going to just glue here on that, and I need a little bit of twine black, I think, to tie into that. Okay, so this is jute twine that you can order from Country Craft Creations in lots of different colors. This is the black one. And I think I'm going to just thread it through here and see if I can tie a bow. Tie it onto the chipboard tag. Don't want the loops too terribly big. Just kind of pull them down and tighten them. Okay, and I don't want to come untied, so I'm going to use a little bit of the art glitter glue in that knot. And then this is going to glue right down on top. So glue on the whole chipboard piece. And just glue that on like that. I got glue oozing out, so I'll clean that up a little bit. Got my little bow going on. And then I'm going to trim this down a little bit like that maybe. Okay, so there is our pop and twist on this page. So this comes back and you just open it and it pops out like, whoops, let me pull it down so you can see. Pops out like that. So let me show you. Pull this down and then just lift up and you've got that fun element like that. You can put a picture up here and down here. So I love how that turned out. So that is page 8 and 9 on the inside and 9 on the outside with all this. And next we'll be moving on to the last page, which is 10, and the back inside cover following that. So I've been decorating my album and came across a major change that I needed to do. I did it off camera because I didn't know how big a mess I was going to make and if it would work. So I'm going to go over it with you. I will put a disclaimer in the cut list, which you can find the link to in my description. Click on that and go and print it up in Google Docs, but I'll also put it on the screen of the video where I tell you to do this. So in this page here, initially I had the pop and twist under this flap. And for this album, it was just too thick to have that element here under these pockets. It just did not lay down good. It still has a little bit of a bowing right here from the flaps, but it's much better than it was. It still lays down pretty flat. So I took my tool and lifted it off. If you read the disclaimer, you should not have yours on there. And so where it tore it a little bit, I put this glitter mat and this red mat and then decorated that up. Also added these corners, which I'll go over in the walkthrough with you. I took the pop and twist, I flipped back to this page here, which is page 5, that had nothing on it. And I added it here, which I think works a whole lot better. It's across from this flip up like this, where the gatefolds are. So it has no flap on it at all, and it works really good right there. And then all this kind of matched. So if I wasn't telling you, you wouldn't know. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to continue decorating. I just wanted to pop in and add this clip to explain this change up. I have cut the papers for the page 10 and the back inside cover. So first, let me go over this. I chose for above the pocket, Always Late, which is this red images here, but I'm going to use this really pretty like wallpaper type. So this piece, because it goes above this pocket, now this pocket is attached down already as part of the making the base album like the original. So this fits in here, and it is cut to 7 7/8 wide by 6 1/2 tall. So I'll glue that in there. Then for the pocket, I chose this red with the large hearts, which is from the Patterns and Solids. And this one is 7 7/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall. So this is just a pocket here on this page. So then when we slide over here, I'm using the other piece of this pattern, which is above the pocket, and this is a pocket that needs to be attached down. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one with you. This one is cut which is a leftover from when I cut this one. This one's 8 1/8 wide by 8 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on so that I can attach the pocket down with you on this step. So we'll get the glue on here. Okay. So this fits in here. Make sure it is lining up as straight as I can up at the top, a little bit of margin. Let's see here. I don't know if I want that far over. Okay. Since I can see this part right here, I should have cut the paper a little longer. So I'm going to piece in there. See how my pocket doesn't go all the way over? I don't necessarily like that not being finished. It's just a tiny, tiny bit. So let me grab a scrap of that particular paper. Make sure I have some. That I can just cut to go right in here. And now glue that in to match up in there. Doesn't matter that the pattern doesn't match, it's just going to be a tiny bit of it showing on the side. You'll see what I mean in just a second here. So I'm going to get this on, line it up right there. Okay. Now then, when I glue my pocket down, I see that over here, I needed a little bit of it showing here. So let me see what else I've got. I'm going to cut another piece that is about 2 1/8. I had another scrap, luckily, to get just enough of this red on the side. So that just, this you should cut the whole length if you have it. If not, you can piece it like I did. So I'm going to change that on the cutting guide to make that a full sheet because it's just easier that way if you have enough. If you don't, you'll have to piece it like I did. So there we go. So see, you have a little bit on each side. Now we're going to seal up the pocket right here and burnish that down. Okay, so now this is ready to be patterned. This piece here is going to be the back other side of this. So this one for your pocket, it's the leftover from the Always Late, the red side, and it's 7 7/8 wide by 2 5/8 tall. And then for your waterfall, I cut one piece of this one. You have your 3 waterfalls, and we'll put this together once I get this patterned. So this one is from Joyous Possibilities, 5 7/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. That goes on the very first one. And the remaining ones are cut at 1 7/8 by 5 7/8, and it depends on which direction you want them to go. So for example, this one is 5 7/8 1 7/8 wide. No. 5 7/8. I've got those wrote down wrong. 5 7/8 wide by 1 7/8 tall, and I have 2 going that direction, and then I have 3 going 1 7/8 wide by 5 7/8 tall. And I do this, I did this in the other album that I did with the Oz paper, so that you can put a 4x6 photo going this way, or if you put it down like this, your 4x6 photo would go in here. So that's what those are that way. So I have 3 that are 1 7/8 wide and 5 7/8 tall, and just 2 that are 5 7/8 wide by 1 7/8 tall. And you can cut them by how you need them for your photos. So we'll do all that. I'm going to go ahead and get all this patterned off camera, and then I'll come back and do a review and then show you putting in the waterfalls. Okay, so I'll have the papers glued down to page 10, the pocket, and the back inside cover. And then I've also got the patterns of the papers onto the flaps for the waterfall. And so what I did is, this is the first one. When you flip it up, I've got this one, so you can put a portrait photo here, 4x6. And then the next one will be going this direction, so you can put a landscape one. Flip it up, you can do another portrait here. The third one, you can do another landscape, and then flip it up, and the last portrait. So cut yours the way you like to make your pictures. You know, do you take yours more portrait style or more horizontal? So now let's put these on to the book. I'm going to turn it just a little bit. So this is the first one, and it's going to go right along the top edge here of the book. And I'm going to center it, so I need to turn it so I can kind of see that. So I'm going to take my glue, and I put glue on just the 1/2 inch tabby here on the back. Okay, and then we're going to line this up, get it straight with the top of the album, and make sure it's kind of centered. That looks pretty good. Finish that. Open it up. Okay, now with it open up, the next one is going to go, which one did I want? I think this one. It's going to go right up against the cut edge. So the fold here goes right along that cut edge. So put your glue down. And then what you can do after you're done with everything is come back and fill in that little 1/2 inch space right here if you want to, with like a 3/8 inch strip. Let me find my burnishing tool. Burnish this one in. Make sure it stays where it belongs. Flip that one up, and then our last one's going to go right there. So this is just the traditional way of making a waterfall, just by lining up your flaps like this. Now you could probably put a couple extra, or at least maybe one extra, I don't know. I think this number is best because I'll show you. It doesn't extend beyond the pocket. And what I will do is, when I put my tags and what have you in here, they're going to hold this down. Now I had thought about putting this piece here, but it extends too far, I think. Or do I want to fold it where I can fold it under it? I could pop it up because there's enough space here, and use it as part of the closure piece. So let me think about that, and I will consider that. Let me get some chipboard to lift it up. Okay, so I have scraps of lightweight chipboard, and I've cut 3 pieces that are about the same size. These are rectangles. Let me cut this one down. It's a little longer than the others. Okay, and I am going to glue one here, and this is an element from the packages of embellishments that I received that went with this collection. Then I'm gluing 3 together. Now, yes, you could use foam dots. I just tend to like to use the chipboard. I think once it's glued on, it's glued on. Pretty permanent, and very sturdy. And it's leftover scraps that you don't have to buy. It's just something that, you know, it's a preference. I like to use chipboard. And it doesn't show as long as you cut it to fit the area that you're adding it to. That glue off of there. Okay, so now if put that there, the waterfall, once it's attached, can be just tucked down behind it a little bit. Then still something in the pocket to hold the rest of that. I really like that, but do I want it better? I think I may put it over here because that's, every time you bend that, that's just not going to work very well. I really like this. Poke that out. Make sure you poke out all the little, I think this is their chipboard embellishments. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to just glue that on there. And that means I'm going to put some more chipboard back here on her head. Make it a little more secure. I need 3 of these. Okay, and maybe something on the other side too. Right there. Two and one more. Oh, I'm getting glue everywhere. Quit throwing that down. So just scraps. It doesn't have to be exactly cut the same. Perfect. Just as long as they are the same thickness and it doesn't stick out about beyond the image. So then I put glue on all of these. And then put it on the pocket. There, like that. Press it down, bring it in a little bit. I don't want that sticking out beyond the pocket edge. There we go. I like that. That's really pretty. So that's kind of like what I'll be doing for decorating. So everything has been covered with patterned paper except for sections like this and like in between spaces. You can do that. Just measure and cut it down a little bit smaller, the height of your album, like in here. And now I'm ready to do decorating, which I will do on my own. You know, you would cut tags out of scraps of your paper, your cardstock, to put into here. Tags and photo mats for inside your pockets. So that's not, I didn't write that down in the cutting guide. That's all going to depend on your own elements that you want to do. So when I get all this done, I will come back and do a quick run through of what I've done, but there will be a separate walkthrough so that you can really see it in detail. Okay, so for now I'm going to keep working on my decorating, and I will also put something on the front cover. I may come back and show you doing that. We'll see. Okay, so I have pretty much finished my decorating on the inside, which I will go through in a little bit, but I'm going to, on camera, show you what I'm going to do for my cover. Also, with my scraps, I've gone through all my scraps, and anything sizable, like I folded, I cut this one into a tag, the patterned paper, and then I used this scrap, glued it onto a scrap of the glitter paper, and then I folded the patterned paper over. So this is like a slip-on bookmark. And then I took the flowers from the embellishments that I had, these pieces of the Graphic 45 flowers that are shaped like hearts. And I stacked them and glued them together, and then glued the silver gemstone there in the middle. That's also graphic 45 that I had in my stash. And so that makes a beautiful, beautiful bookmark, slide-on bookmark. So that's that one. I haven't figured out where I'm putting them in the book. This one was a wonderful cut-apart square that was kind of a remnant of something I had already used. So I rounded the corners. I added this little strip of gold paper here, this little embellishment, and one of the gemstones. And then on the back, I made a fold-over piece out of another scrap and just glued the fold here. Any scrap will do. So now I have another, like a slide-on kind of bookmark type thing. This one here was big enough to fold in half. And then I added, it's actually a belly band, so I could put something in there. I haven't decided to, but you can tuck stuff in behind there. A picture, a scrap of the red, another scrap from the borders, a chipboard piece, the twine bow, fussy cut out a butterfly from one of my scraps paper, and made this booklet, fold out booklet. So I love that one. Now other scraps, go through your scraps. If they're good size like this, what I like to do is just take the scraps and my Dress My Craft slot punch or corner punch from Country Craft Creations. I will look and see if they still have them available in the store or not. But anyway, you can punch your corners so that your photos can just kind of slide in there like that without being glued in. And I take all my different scraps that are good size. So this is a cream color one, or I can use the hearts. There's the red, the hearts, a black one. So you see how many different ones. These were scraps. Rather than making cards, I thought, well, I'm going to make some photo mats that can be used in the album, like that. These are just some cut-aparts, extra cut-aparts that I had. This one too, but it makes a good journaling. I think I've already used this image in the book. This one I folded in half. So you see you have the double here and the single. So I made it a journaling booklet. Tied this string around it and just tied it in a knot. And this one I love. This was a scrap of the glitter paper. I angled the top, punched a hole in these three. I had scraps left over from fussy cutting this other piece. And so now I have another little bookmark. Here's a couple of more of these. Another bookmark. And I still have quite a bit of the chipboard pieces left, and that's okay. Chipboard makes it kind of thick, so I don't know if I'll be using any more of those or not. But let's get back to the cover really quickly here and get that glued on, and then this album will be finished so I can move on to my next project. So from the big 12 by 12 sheet that says Curiouser and Curiouser, that has this image of Alice on it, I fussy cut elements. So this was a frame, which makes me think of the mirror. And on the back, I wanted it a little dimensional, so I added 2 layers of lightweight chipboard pieces to give it a little lift. So that's how I do that. So those are just doubled chipboard pieces. They don't have to be matching sizes, just as long as you get that thickness. So that's like that. And then the butterfly, this big one from the Elements, I did that on the back of the right side, because I think it'll probably glue like that over that mirror. I'm not sure yet. This is from the Elements Adventure Time. This I fussy cut out of the paper. Fussy cut the big butterfly out of the paper. I had this one in my Elements. These two are from my Elements. I'm not sure if I'll use those. This is the Curiouser and Curiouser chipboard piece, which I mounted to some of the black glitter. And I need to clean up my glue here in some places. I get glue on my chipboard pieces really, really badly. And when I hold it in the light, that's better. I can see where they're at from my fingers and stuff, or just touching it. So that's better. There's one right there. And just kind of clean them off. So then I added some of the silver gemstones right there. So that's going to go on the cover. And I fussy cut this image of Alice off of that paper, the main paper, and this is a embellishment piece. So I've got to plan on how I'm going to glue it. I don't think I'm going to use a ribbon tie on this album, and probably not any ribbon on the cover. Now see, this blends in, and I'm okay with that. That's the way I wanted it to look. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing with the art glitter glue my pieces. So I like to do a lot of fussy cutting sometimes, especially with Graphic 45. It's just so pretty to bring all these different pieces and elements together. Put the glue on the back of Alice, and then I'm going to stick her down just to the side like that. I think butterfly peek in behind. So I'll put her in there. There's her hair. Get that down good. Okay, so that's just added in there. Then the frame, which I want Alice in, just like that. So the glue just goes on the chipboard pieces that I use. You could use foam dots and strips if you wanted to. I prefer using my scraps of chipboard on elements like this. It's really sturdy, doesn't come undone once that glue is on there. So let me position this over her like she's in the looking glass, just like that. So let that dry. The butterfly, I think I'm going to put like that. So the glue goes on these flat wings here and the chipboard. Bring her right about there. Not over her face though. Okay. So that's looking really pretty. We have all these other elements that I do want to incorporate in somehow. Of course, this is just extra. Maybe this I'll use on something else. I don't think I need that there. And that one too. This butterfly I did want. So I'm going to put, to show you how I do it, some of this chipboard on the two back of the wings that are going to be on the left side. Okay, so just cut pieces of chipboard, and you just want to make sure that it doesn't stick out beyond your image. So I just kind of position it on there like that. There's two. So I need 2 layers. Need another little square over there on the other side. And this is the lightweight chipboard, so it's real easy to cut. You can use your heavyweight chipboard too, but you'll have to use a trimmer to cut it. Now that may be sticking out, and so when I turn it over, I look, and if I see any sticking out, I just snip that off. And there's that butterfly that's going to attach like that. So glue on the chipboard and glue on the wings for sure, the flat wings that go into the image like right there. Okay, I like that. That one there could use a little chipboard behind it. Very small. I'm just going to cut 2 tiny squares, put them together. Like that. And then I'll put glue on both sides of them. And carefully put that on the back of that wing right there so that it holds it up like that. Okay, love, love, love that. It's just kind of some dimension in there. So we have this butterfly as well. I like lots of butterflies. And I was thinking of maybe curling up his wings just a tad, not a whole lot, and putting him somewhere like that. I want him down here. No, I think I want him up there. So I'm just putting the glue on the center where the butterfly center is, and then I'm going to turn him the way I want him to be. There we go. So his wings kind of look like they're coming up. Okay, so I had the Curiouser and Curiouser. I was thinking I wanted it down here. So it just glues flat down. I can't wait to show you what I'm going to be working with next for my design team project. It's going to be a family album with, I believe it's Echo Park's, maybe just called Family, from Country Craft Creations. I got my design team package. I will be sharing that. Venture Time. Let's see. I thought about like in there maybe, but that's kind of cool. Onto the butterfly. Look, step back and look, or do I just want this? I do kind of like the Adventure Time. Kind of like the title of the album as well. So I'm going to put that kind of with this butterfly and this one, just kind of a straight across. Didn't need any lifting on that. And this little filigree here. I don't know if there's a place to stick that guy. I think I'll wait on that. And this flower here, I think I will also wait. So I believe that is my cover for my Alice in Wonderland Curiouser and Curiouser by Graphic 45. And so I'll show you the inside next real quick. There will be a detailed walkthrough separate video for this. So let's take a quick look at the finished album and add all these extra stuff in if I can find a place to put it all. So we have here the inside front cover. I do have quite a bit already in that. I will show you what all I put in that in the walkthrough. This you lift up. It has a magnet under the flap. We have Alice falling here. We have all of this in here. So I could tuck a little card in there like that. This is open as well. So let's put a, for now, let's put a photo mat. If we can get it to stick in there like that maybe. Fold that down. This is open. Someone put this one over here. Okay, and close that up. So here we have these corner things that I put a lot of stuff in. I already have a cut apart here. I have a booklet here. I like the booklets in there, so I may poke that one in there like that. You can just put things wherever you want. This is a rub, oops, that flap has a rub-on. Sorry about that. Rub-ons on those. So I left those just for photo mats that you can add in or glue in. So I'm just going to tuck loose photo mats, I think. Maybe some cards that can be glued into on those sides once everything is done. So we have these like that. Okay, maybe one more if I've got one more. Let's see here, what have I got? Okay, so those are photo mats that have been glued into different places. Flip this, so I have frames here. This is a flap that opens up. It does have a photo mat in there, but it doesn't hold very well. Let me see, I don't know if I make it thicker. if that will help hold, maybe like that. And then of course this, remember, was magnet that opens up. So we've got this big tuck in here. And I have photo mats already attached there. So I'm just going to wait on that. So I don't know if that's the one I want in there or not. Let's see what else I've got. Got this photo mat. See, that's one that can be glued somewhere. So I'm going to leave that like that. Open this up. We have a pocket here. So this has a booklet here. I'm going to put that right there. And let's see, I love this one. So let's see what we can do here. That kind of hides Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but like that though. How about up here holding these like that? Yeah, that, I like that. That works. That one. And this is a belly band, the tuck spot. So I've got this flap. I'm going to put there. Just kind of like everything's just peeking around. And then we've got this one. So this is our, that flips up. We've got the rabbit there. We've got Alice on that. Nope. Did I leave that open? No, I glued that down. So I'm not going to put anything there. Close that up. I have this pocket here. I can put probably this one on this side. And maybe another, the rabbit card there. So that's the, oh, I still got a whole bunch. We don't want to lose all of these. So this one can go here. These have rub-ons on them. They're just photo mats. So I'm just going to tuck them here and there. Not a whole lot in that one because I don't want to make it cluttered with removing stuff for that. So these are just extra things that can be glued in different places for journaling. And that is the album. So I'll do a quick walkthrough, and thank you so much for following along on this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to check out countrycraftcreations.com for your scrapbooking supplies. Remember, I do have a referral code. If you use my code, you can get 10% off when you place your order, and you might want to be ordering this collection if it's still available. That is Sandy Trefger, all caps, SANDY TREFGER 10. I'll put that on the screen. Sandy Trefger 10 is the code if you want 10% off. And yeah, this is the project. Again, I'll have a walkthrough video and of course the tutorial video for you to follow along that you've been watching already. And remember to subscribe to my channel and share with your friends and give me a thumbs up. Thanks everybody. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.